So in this video, I wanted to share some of the best booster boxes to buy right now, in my opinion, some from Scarlet and Violet, and some from Sword and Shield. So let's just get straight into it. So first here, this might be one of the most underpriced booster boxes from Sword and Shield, and just overall, Silver Tempest being at $350. In my opinion, it's pretty crazy it's this cheap. I mean, Astral Radiance, I think it's still above $400, and basically everything. Like, if you think about all the Sword and Shield booster boxes other than Battle Styles that have alternate arts, this is the cheapest one. There's Chilling, it's more expensive. Evolving's more expensive. Fusion's more expensive. Brilliant's more expensive. Astral's more expensive. Lost Origin's more expensive, and then Silver is the cheapest. It's crazy to me. This is $350. This, in my opinion, if you want to go buy some Sword and Shield, Silver Tempest at $350 is one of the best buys out there. Like, it's actually crazy to me that this is not above $400. But for that reasoning, I put this as one of the first ones here that I would be buying because it is very cheap for a Sword and Shield box. It has Lugia and Rayquaza. Not really much more to say. It's, going to be, in my opinion, a pretty good long-term hold. And at $350, a good $100 to $200 cheaper than all the other Sword and Shield, booster boxes. I think it's a very, very good buy. So this is definitely one I'd be looking for at $350. Now, for Silver Tempest, if you look at supply, there's a good amount at this price point. And if you look at sales volume, this actually has been selling a little bit, more than compared to some of the other boxes. But it's not going to skyrocket anytime soon. But I'd be trying to find some nice minty boxes at $350, especially on eBay. There's not really that many that you can find really under this price point. If anything, it's going to be the same or a little bit more expensive. But for Sword and Shield boxes and for more expensive boxes, I've always said this: if you can find booster boxes on eBay or anywhere that has like specific pictures of the box, and you can pay the exact same price or maybe a tiny bit more, I'd probably be picking up those boxes that you can find pictures of. So right now, lowest listed is $350. If you go on eBay, you can see here there's some listings for around the same price. This is like $360. This is $350, but it actually sold out. I checked it, $350, $375, and I think I'm specifically clicked on this listing to show you guys that this is a clean box. If it's still available, could be a potential buy. I don't know if this is a reputable seller, but you can see there are some listings for around $350, $360, $370. So you can find some listings, but everything else you can see there are a lot of boxes at around $400. But I did click on this listing that was listed for $350. I'm not sponsored by the seller or whatever. I think I have another listing pulled up from this person, but they seemingly have good feedback. And this box, I think it might be from a case. You can't see how clean it is. It is inside of this plastic bit, but you can't just look at the wrapping, and you can't see it's pretty much like a case fresh box. Very nice, and yeah, at the end of the picture you can't see. He could obviously just pull this picture out from anywhere, but it does look like it's from a case, so it's a very minty box, exact same price as TCG Player. Something like this from a seller that seemingly has high feedback, for me, is a very good buy, and I'd probably buy from here over TCG Player. Next is Lost Origin. Now, Lost Origin is one of the more expensive booster boxes. It's not quite as expensive as Fusion or Evolving, but it is up there. It's above $500, which a lot of these other boxes from Sword and Shield are like under $500. But this is $530. Now, at one point this was $600, but it's gone down. I think Lost Origin is definitely a very standout set. I think if Lost Origin did not get reprinted, during the same time that Silver Tempest did, I think Lost Origin would probably be just as expensive as Fusion Strike. But it did get reprinted, so there is more supply out there. And at $530, especially since it recently was $600 and now it's gone down, I think buying these in the low 500s is very good. I could easily see Lost Origin in a couple of years from now being $1,000 booster box. I just think at $500, even though it is more expensive than a lot of the other ones, paying $100 more for Lost Origin, which is a standout set because of the Giratina, I think buying this box is a really in my opinion pretty good pickup at around low 500s. I know that sounds crazy to say, but that's where I stand with Lost Origin. I think it is going to be a very good box to have, and I think in the low 500s, it's really not that bad of a buy. Now, if you go on eBay, you're not really going to find any, for much cheaper than low 500s. You will find some, like I think I pulled this one up here to check on. It's like 510, but you're not going to get any crazy discounts on Sword and Shield boxes. You will just basically be paying market or a little bit more on eBay, but you may find some very clean boxes that may just be worth picking up on here rather than TCG Player. Now I did show you guys, I guess, this listing here. It's from the seller. They have good feedback, but the picture here is not that great. It's 510 bucks, I guess, with the shipping. You probably could request to ask for more pictures if this listing is still available by the time you're watching this, because it does look clean from the front, but you don't know what the top, sides, backs look like. So you probably could ask people if they only have pictures like this, if they could send more pictures. But yeah. Next here is Brilliant. So Brilliant is still above 400 bucks. It's $425 right now, lowest listed right now. At one point it was 500 bucks. I do think Brilliant at 400, it's still, any of these boxes really from Sword Shield are still buys, but Brilliant being at 400, it's like a decent buy. It's not as good, in my opinion, as Silver of a buy. I mean, it does have the Charizard chase and also all the evolutions in the trainer gallery. But I think Silver is a little bit more attractive being in the mid 300s, but Brilliant, low 400s, still, pretty good. It's going to, obviously, a few years from now, I could see this being close to $1,000 booster box, to be honest. Brilliant Stars, definitely in my opinion. I just like the box. I've always said it. I don't know what about Brilliant Stars with the box, but I just really like it. But regardless of that, Brilliant Stars, low 400s, it's still a decent buy. If you go on eBay, you will find that, same thing with all these other Sword and Shield boxes. Really no discounts. You may find some a little bit under, but this one looks kind of damaged. But other than that, I think this is from the same seller. As you can see here, yeah, same seller as the other one. $430. Same thing, very clean box. And this one was also from a case. So yeah, any box like these that you can find that are clean, probably be buying them if you want them on eBay. Next here is Chilling Reign. Now, Chilling Reign is basically the exact same price as Brilliant Stars. Now, Chilling Reign does have a lot more expensive chases than Brilliant, but Brilliant does have, I think, more appeal because it has the Charizard. I mean, it also has the Arceus, but it also has those evolutions. So I think Brilliant in that way has more appeal of the Pokemon it has, but Chilling has a lot more value in it because it's a lot more deeper of a set. But at 430, low 400s, Chilling Reign still good pickup. Chilling Reign, I don't think ever quite hit 500 when like the whole Sword and Shield boom was happening. So it has dropped a tiny bit, but I still think low 400s, any of these are still good pickups. Chilling Reign, this box for some reason you can't really find. I mean, I guess there's this one here, but I think this seller might be from a random country that I think I clicked on this listing. But yeah, same thing. All these Sword and Shield boxes, it's basically market price or lowest listed or a little bit more. I found this seller, I guess. They seemingly have good feedback. This very clean box here. It was, I think, like 420 with shipping, so a little bit under lowest listed, I guess, on TCG Player, but it's just a really clean box, which is why I want to show you guys here. Now, going on to some Scarlet and Violet stuff. So, I've talked about Scarlet and Violet, being a good pickup, mainly with, the earlier sets. The first one here that I know is the most expensive, but I've talked about it before. I really think this is an outlier set. Paldea Evolved. I mean, the Magikarp is just such an outlier chase, and Scarlet and Violet definitely, I think, has been criticized for not having a ton of top chase hits like Sword and Shield, because Sword and Shield, you had all those alternate arts that are huge hits. A lot of the times for Scarlet and Violet sets, you will have illustration rares be more sought after than special illustration rares, which are a higher rarity. So that's sort of an anomaly with Scarlet and Violet that you really didn't see with Sword and Shield. But the Magikarp, it just all Scarlet and Violet. You think of top chases, you think about the Charizard from 151. You think about maybe the Paldean Fates Mew. You probably think about maybe Surging Sparks Pikachu, but definitely you also think about the Magikarp, because this is a very popular card, and it's really just going to be a set that people think about because of that Magikarp. So I do think Paldea Evolved, even though it's the most expensive set, in the most expensive booster box, just for that reasoning, it being also like basically 2 years old at this point, it's gotten multiple reprints. I just think in a few years from now, $300, this could be one of the most expensive boxes in Scarlet and Violet, just in my opinion. So I think Paldea Evolved is a pretty good buy if you can buy them for around 300 or under. Now, if you look on eBay, you will notice how hard it is to find these for actually $300 on eBay, because a lot of them are listed for above 300. As you can see here, I searched up Paldea Evolved. These are the first listings. You can see basically every single one is above 300 bucks. So on TCG Player is cheaper than eBay, and if you find them anywhere locally on any other website, 300 or under, I think it's a pretty good deal for these. Yeah, I just seeing these also just on all on eBay above 300. I just show some signs that these boxes already are getting sort of scarce, because there's not like eBay listings that you can find deals on or anything. It's basically, they're all more expensive than TCG players. So I think Paldea Evolved here at 300 or under is going to be a pretty good buy in the future. Now, just some other honorable mentions. Just some other earlier Scarlet Violet stuff, like Scarlet Violet base for low 200s. I mean, if Sword and Shield base can get into the 400s, and I've talked about before, I think Scarlet Violet is by far the best modern base that we've ever gotten. I think low 200s is still a decent buy. I've never been a big fan of buying base sets. I don't know. To me, I just feel like they're not as liquid as other sets. But still, I mean, at low 200s, in a few years, if this goes the same route as Sword and Shield base did, I think it's still a good buy at low 200s, and definitely this box is 99.99% chance not getting reprinted. So that's definitely a big, I guess, reliever buying Scarlet Violet base, even though it's not the most popular set. But low 200s, pretty much no chance of reprint. It's not bad. And also here, I've also included Paradox Rift. It hasn't gotten reprinted yet, really, but it's one of the earlier sets, so some people say it may never get reprinted. Some stuff may get skipped. Paradox Rift, it could happen. Now, I didn't include here, you might notice, Obsidian Flames. Obsidian Flames, to me, at 250 is kind of a rough thing to say it's a good investment. It has the Charizards or whatever, but I really do feel like, at least in my opinion, the whole Charizard thing right now, the reason why that box is so expensive is because a lot of the newcomers, are obviously attracted to Charizard and those sorts of things, which is why those boxes are that price. But I think at 250, you could probably spend your money in other places that are better. That's just my opinion. So I didn't include Obsidian Flames here because I really don't think at 250 it's that great of a buy, even though it has gotten reprinted multiple times with Paldea Evolved. It's an older set, but I feel like the value really isn't there as much as some other sets. But Paradox Rift at 215, I still think is a decent buy. So just wanted to show you guys, in my opinion, what are the best booster boxes to buy right now. I think a lot of Sword and Shield stuff is still great, and some of the earlier Scarlet Violet stuff is also good as well. But I really think out of all these, Silver Tempest is one of the most underrated boxes right now to buy. So just wanted to show you guys those. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.